Hey, yo, what's the deal, y'all? This is Kool G Rap right here. And right now you're watching VladTV.com, you heard?
As someone that came from a certain time where lyrics were so important, and the crafting of an album was so important, you know, like, I mean, for example, like, I had a long talk years ago with Special Ed, talking about, you know, at the time that he was doing albums, you didn't want any features on your album. You know, that
it never
album
really crossed my mind.
Yeah,
it wasn't even that I didn't want it or wanted it.
Well, no, it's not just about you. I'm talking about that whole era.
Right.
It was you and your producer, and it was just, that was the work that you guys put together. Now, you could say that Nas's Illmatic was the first album that changed that. It was the first like super producer album, where you would get every hot producer at the time.
Right.
And then, you know, later on, now the features are so important. How do you really view music these days compared to when you were doing it? Because there are very drastic differences between those two times.
I mean, back then when the G-Rap made his entry into the game, and you know, when I was more heard on the airwaves and all that, you have more individuality and you have more variety as opposed to these days. You know what I'm saying? Like he was saying, like, you know, how Nas kind of introduced, you know, having a variety of producers on one project. Back then, I mean, which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But when everybody get the same variety of producers that you have, when everybody follows the same blueprint, then it becomes repetitious. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to back then, it was more of a variety. Like, you know, like BDP had who they had,
right.
and Ultramagnetic that has Said G and Paul C, whoever was doing their tracks at the time.
Right.
You know, and we had Marley Marl.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody didn't run and flood Marley Marl that wasn't in the Juice Crew camp.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, with the exception of like LL, because of Marley Marl and LL's relationship with each other. Right. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and I'm not knocking that anyway, but everybody didn't run the Marley Marl. They had their own cats. Q-Tip and them, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They had their own cats, and they was doing their own stuff. Brand Nubian, yeah. Public Enemy, you know what I'm saying? Introduced Bomb Squad and all that.
Had Prince Paul that they did all their projects
right.
with and so forth.
Right.
So how do you feel about, you know, with what's happening these days? I
mean, when it becomes a situation where you gotta have the same features, the same producer, and the same kind of chorus with where sound auto-tune-ish or whatever, then it becomes, it's not a thing of talent no more. It's just you're following a pattern and you're following the trend instead of creating trends or creating a form. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I could never say that's a good thing, because I think a good thing is when people, you know, are more they self. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And follow their own sense of direction.